temporary ban on flights to and from India beginning Wednesday. Return to online lessons after Raya holidays for all schools. Hello and good evening. Thanks for joining us. You're watching News at 10. I'm Muhammad Amin Carlos. Well, the government has decided to temporarily suspend all flights from and to India to prevent the spread of India's double mutant variant starting this Wednesday. Well, Senior Minister for Security, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, said the decision was made after the National Security Council agreed to the proposal put forward by the Ministry of Health. Well, in a statement today, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said ships and Indian citizens with Malaysian work permits will also be denied entry. However, exemptions will be given to Malaysian citizens who will undergo the mandatory 14-day quarantine upon entry. All travellers who began from any Indian destination, be it via direct or transit flights, are barred from entering Malaysia. Now, this ban will also apply to travellers who are transiting in Malaysia to a third country. The senior minister added that ships with a voyage history of being in India within the last 14 days are also not allowed to sign off in Malaysia except for crew members who are Malaysian citizens. Malaysia will also temporarily bar the entry of international students and business travellers from India. However, Malaysian students, workers, spouses and children of Malaysian citizens who are currently residing in India, as well as religious groups who were in India, are allowed to enter the country but must undergo quarantine in gazetted stations. Well, all primary and secondary schools nationwide will return to the home-based teaching and learning method, PDPR, when the education session resumes after the school holidays in conjunction with Hari Raya Aidilfitri next month. The directive will affect some 2.7 million pupils at 7,780 primary schools and 2.03 million students at secondary schools around the country. This means that all schools around the country will conduct PDPR for a total of 10 days until the start of mid-year school break, which will start on 28th May for schools in Johor, Kedah, Kelantan and Terengganu, and 29th May for the remaining states. This is among the mitigation efforts announced by Education Minister Dato' Dr. Razzie Jidin to prevent COVID-19 outbreaks from affecting schools, subsequently protecting teachers and children from the risk of being infected by the virus.
We admit, kita mengakui bahawa we are not perfect. We are not perfect. Kita tidak sempurna. But we are trying our best dalam memastikan anak-anak kita dapat ke sekolah, dapat kembali ke sekolah, termasuklah ke sekolah asrama, dan dapat mengikuti pembelajaran dengan baik.
He said this in a briefing to reporters in Putrajaya today. The decision to close schools in Selangor is under the jurisdiction of the State Education Department following discussions with district health centres and the State Health Department. And Menteri Besar Dato' Seri Amiruddin Shari said the previous closure of 19 schools in the state did not follow the proper channel and discussions, but was still accepted.
Kali ini kita ikut format itulah. So akhirnya setelah Pusat Kesihatan Daerah memaklumkan dan Jabatan Kesihatan merasakan bahawa kes-kes itu wajar ditutup, jadi kita tutup. Sebab controller kepada seluruh sekolah-sekolah di Negeri Selangor ini terletak di bawah Jabatan Pendidikan Negeri Selangor.
He said this to reporters after the opening ceremony of the Selangor Hybrid 2021 Women's Revenue Expo and launching of Selangor Empowered Women today. Meanwhile, he said the implementation of the Enhanced Movement Control Order would be decided by the federal government. Datuk Sri Amiruddin was asked to confirm the distribution of a list regarding closures of 79 schools starting today and tomorrow due to the spread of the COVID-19 infection believed to be circulated by the State Education Department that went viral today. He said it would not make any announcements regarding the matter as only the National Security Council, the MKN, and Ministry of Education could do so. Well, the Health Ministry recorded 2,776 new COVID-19 cases today, with Selangor still at the top of the list. And Selangor recorded 762 new cases, followed by Sarawak with 615 cases and Kelantan with 343 cases. So in total, Malaysia has seen 395,718 cumulative infections, of which 24,713 cases remain active. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah in a statement today said of today's figure, only 3 are imported cases while the remaining were local transmissions. The ministry also recorded 1,803 new recoveries, bringing the total to 369,556 cases. Currently, 300 cases are being treated in intensive care units, with 133 cases requiring breathing assistance. And the number of fatalities also rose by 13 cases today, bringing the total to 1,449 deaths. Meanwhile, the ministry also identified 12 new clusters today involving 4 workplace and community clusters each, 2 educational sector clusters, 1 religious cluster and 1 detention center cluster. Well, almost 40% of the Malaysian population aged 18 and above have registered for the National COVID-19 Immunization Program, PICK. And according to the program's coordinating minister, Khairi Jamaluddin, the total amount is expected to increase and reach 80% of the community within 2 months. Explaining further, Khairi said the government will further increase the number of registrations for vaccine by meeting the target recipients in person or via manual registrations. Speaking after observing the National Immunization Program at the Sultan Abdul Halim Stadium, he also commented on the low amount of registrations in Kedah.
Saya tanya Amat Berhormat Menteri Besar pasal apa daerah SIK, daerah beliau sendiri agak tinggi pendaftaran. Dia kata banyak usaha daripada sukarelawan daripada pejabat wakil rakyat, daripada jentera kerajaan, pejabat daerah dan sebagainya telah menggerakkan pendaftaran di masjid, di rumah ke rumah, di kawasan-kawasan orang awam dan sebagainya. Itu yang kita perlukan buat di Kedah.
There are about 12 vaccination centres in Kedah apart from 4 government hospitals. The vaccination program has entered the second phase involving high-risk groups, including senior citizens aged 60 and above, those with comorbidities, as well as persons with disabilities. And on a related note, Khairi said the use of 5 billion ringgit from the National Trust Fund, KWAN, is for vaccine procurement and expenses related to the National COVID-19 Immunization Program. The minister also said that the amount included vaccine procurement involving an allocation of 3 billion ringgit and 2 billion ringgit for the implementation of the vaccination program.
Dari segi penggunaan duit KUAN itu, perkara tersebut akan dijawab oleh Kementerian Kewangan. Ya, saya pengguna duit, bukan pemberi duit. Pemberi duit kena jawablah dia ambil daripada mana, dia ambil daripada kantong mana. Saya pengguna duit. Tapi saya nak jawab, saya akan jawab dengan teliti nanti dalam kenyataan media.
Khairi was asked to comment on the government's recent move to gazette the Emergency for National Trust Fund Amendment Ordinance 2021, which allows the government to use the funds for vaccine procurement and expenses related to the immunization program. He explained that the total expenditure was related to the vaccination program, including the provision of facilities such as renting halls, utility payments and food preparation, as well as the payment of allowances to the staff involved. Well, meanwhile, the Finance Ministry also explained that the 5 billion ringgit from the National Trust Fund is being used to expedite the purchase of COVID-19 vaccines and other expenses related to the National Immunization Program. Its Minister, Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz, said the Trust Fund has 19.5 billion ringgit as of 31st December last year, comprising contributions from Petronas worth 10.4 billion ringgit and 9.1 billion ringgit from investment returns. Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul further explained that under Section 6, the National Trust Fund Act 1988, or Act 339, allows the fund to be used after 10 years for development expenditure and to finance soft loans to the federal and state governments.
Jadi oleh itu penggunaannya dihadkan untuk memperoleh vaksin, ya, dan bukan untuk tujuan lain yang tidak dinyatakan di bawah undang-undang. Anggaran 5 bilion ringgit bagi perolehan vaksin hanyalah menggunakan jumlah pelaburan yang dijana. Tetapi jumlah pokok sumbangannya 10.4 bilion masih kekal dan tidak digunakan.
The minister said this was not the first time that the government had tapped into the trust fund, as 42 million ringgit had been used previously from the same fund for the Paya Indah Wetlands project. He added that the fund was set up to ensure optimal use of the country's stable natural resources for the benefit of the country and future generations. The Health Ministry today said the vaccine developed by AstraZeneca is safe for use 3 days after the nation received its first batch of the shots bought through the global COVAX facility. Minister concerned, Datuk Seri Dr. Adham Baba, noted that the vaccine developed by AstraZeneca is safe and it will be administered to those aged 60 years and older. Malaysia received its first shipment of nearly 270,000 doses of AstraZeneca's vaccine on Friday. Ministry officials say the vaccine was found to be suitable for use for those aged 60 and older and were looking into the available data before approving it for use for other age groups.
Dia berkesan. Kita akan gunakan kepada mereka yang berumur 60 tahun ke atas dan paling sesuai lah ya.
Datuk Seri Dr. Adham said this when met by reporters today. Malaysia secured a total of 12.8 million doses from AstraZeneca, half of which will come via the COVAX facility. It was slated to receive the first 600,000 doses in June. Some countries have limited or halted its use over possible links to blood clotting. AstraZeneca said regulatory reviews in Britain and Europe have noted its vaccine offers a high level of protection and that its benefits far outweigh any risks. The CanSino COVID-19 vaccine, meanwhile, has yet to be approved by the National Pharmaceutical Regulatory Agency, NPRA, to be brought in and used in the country. Coordinating Minister for National COVID-19 Immunization Program, Khairi Jamaluddin, said NPRA was in the midst of studying the vaccine from China before it could be approved.
CanSino belum lagi mendapat kelulusan daripada pihak NPRA, masih sedang menilai CanSino. Jadi sehingga dapat kelulusan daripada NPRA dan dapat didaftar ataupun dapat didaftar oleh NPRA, kita tak boleh bawa masuk lagi.
He said this to reporters after visiting a vaccine dispensing centre at the Sultan Abdul Halim Stadium in Alor today. He was commenting on the status of the CanSino vaccine, which was previously requested by the Sarawak state government for the use of the people in the state. Khairi said the CanSino is a single-shot COVID-19 vaccine that is very suitable for those living in rural areas. The Armed Forces Fund Board, LTAT, has launched the MyWira application to enable the investors gain access to their accounts digitally. And Senior Minister for Security, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, said the launch of the mobile app was timely and in line with the current requirement of managing affairs through online platforms.
Oleh lembaga tabung haji dan sebagainya. Saya percaya dengan kemudahan yang ditawarkan melalui aplikasi MyWira ini, pencarum LTAT tidak lagi perlu hadir ke kaunter pejabat LTAT menggunakan kemudahan e-kios ataupun melalui laman sesawang LTAT. Kini para pencarum boleh terus menggunakan aplikasi MyWira dan di mana-mana saja dan pada bila-bila masa saja.
Speaking at the launching ceremony of the MyWira application, he said the app can be easily downloaded through Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. Coming up, police bus trafficking ring seized drugs worth over 17 million ringgit. Well, a public university student was charged at the Johor Bahru Sessions Court for allegedly insulting the Tengku Mahkota of Johor, Tengku Ismail Sultan Ibrahim, using indecent words last February. However, the accused, Ahmad Muaz Ishak, aged 22, pleaded not guilty after the charge was read before Judge Ahmad Fuad Othman. But the suspect was accused of posting indecent status on his Facebook account and insulting the Johor royalty on 5th February at a fast food outlet in Johor Bahru. Now, the court allowed the accused bail at 3,000 ringgit with one surety and set 25th May for case mention. The suspect was ordered to report himself at the Pantai police station in Kuala Lumpur every 2 weeks and was also asked to submit his passport to the court. The case is investigated under Section 233, Subsection 1, Subsection A of the Communications and Multimedia Act 1998, punishable under Section 233, Subsection 3 of the same Act. The Bukit Aman Narcotic Criminal Investigation Department, NCID, busted 2 drug distribution and processing syndicates in 10 separate raids on 20th and 21st April. And according to Deputy Inspector General of Police, Datuk Sri Akhril Sani, all drugs and items seized in the raids worth over 17 million ringgit. Elaborating further, Datuk Sri Akhril said the syndicate had been actively distributing drugs since February this year. 17 individuals, including 4 Bangladeshi men and a local woman aged between 24 and 47, were arrested in the raids. Among the drugs seized by the police are ketamine, shabu and numerous slabs of heroin base.
Sejumlah 134 kilogram heroin dan 104 kg syabu bernilai 15.2 juta telah berjaya dirampas daripada sindiket tersebut. Dalam hari yang sama juga, sindiket kedua, iaitu merupakan satu makmal proses dadah yang haram, iaitu di Rawang, berjaya ditumpaskan, di mana sejumlah 53 kg ketamin yang untuk kegunaan pasaran tempatan telah berjaya dibentras oleh Jawatan Siasatan Jenayah Narkotik.
They were believed to have smuggled the drugs into Malaysia from southern Thailand using an illegal jetty in Kelantan. They also used containers and parcel delivery services by sea and air to smuggle drugs abroad. Datuk Sri Akhril added that up to April this year, PDRM had managed to take down 92 drug syndicates and confiscated 12 tons of drugs worth 343 million ringgit. In a separate development, Datuk Sri Akhril said the police had received 2 reports lodged by a female student against a teacher who is believed to have used obscene words and allegedly encouraged rape among students. The second report is about the teasing and jokes sent her way by her peers.
Kedua-dua laporan ini telah kita satukan dalam satu siasatan yang melibatkan satu lokaliti, dan kita sedang mengambil keterangan daripada mereka yang berada di tempat kejadian tersebut. Kita telah pun ambil keterangan daripada guru sekolah tersebut, daripada pengadu juga kita telah ambil keterangan, dan sekarang ini pegawai penyiasat sedang giat mengambil rakaman percakapan daripada rakan-rakan sedarjah yang untuk dijadikan sebagai keterangan-keterangan tambahan.
The student took to TikTok and Twitter on Saturday to describe the purportedly inappropriate remarks that were allegedly made while students were discussing sexual harassment during a physical and health education class at a school in Kuala Selangor. Foreign segment, hospital resources stretched thin as Philippines records more than 1 million COVID-19 cases. Well, hospitals in the Philippines approach their tipping point as the nation announced today that the total number of coronavirus cases it had recorded had exceeded 1 million. Well, thousands of new infections continue to be recorded in the capital region, the epicenter of its latest outbreak, as healthcare workers are inundated with patients overflowing from makeshift COVID-19 emergency rooms. Hospital Director Rosette Liquete said an increase in infection among health workers was also recorded as hospitals in the capital city continue to struggle with the rising number of cases.
Every hospital at the NCR, especially the government hospitals, they are now struggling. We noted an increase in the number of cases, just as we noted increase in the number of health workers being positive. In the past, especially in the past since March.
The Health Ministry said it recorded 8,929 COVID-19 cases today, bringing the total to more than 1 million, while fatalities increased to 16,853 after it recorded 70 new deaths. And French energy giant Total today confirmed it is suspending work on a massive $20 billion gas project in northern Mozambique following the latest militant assault on a nearby town last month. Total added that it was declaring a force majeure situation beyond its control, a legal concept meaning it can suspend fulfilling contractual obligations. A militant raid on 24th March on Palma in Mozambique's northern Cabo Delgado province prompted Total to remove remaining staff from the natural gas site. It had already evacuated some workers and suspended construction in January following a series of militant attacks nearby. Last week, the Confederation of Economic Associations of Mozambique, CTA, said Total had suspended contracts with a series of businesses indirectly involved in the gas project. CTA President Agostinho Vuma said at the time Total had assured that the gas project would resume once it is safe, although the energy company itself declined to comment. March's attack on Palma took place just 10 kilometers from the gas project's nerve center, despite the government's commitment to set up a 25-kilometer security radius around the site. Dozens were killed in the assault. Coming up in sport, City win 4th Carabao Cup in a row as Laporte sinks Spurs. Well, in the local scene, Perak FC failed to collect full 3 points after yet another defeat, this time at the hands of Melaka United FC last night in the Malaysian Super League. The encounter, which took place at the Perak Stadium, saw the Bosgoro's squad failing to capitalize on opportunities to score after repeated disappointment by the offense finisher. On the contrary, Melaka United appeared to be more dominant as they kept the action dangerously well nearby the Perak goalposts. The only goal of the match came in the 61st minute after winger Wan Zaharul Nizamwan Zakaria effortlessly slotted in the ball from Stefan Nikolak, well out of reach of Perak goalkeeper Azri Ghazi. The 1-0 score maintained all the way until the full-time whistle was blown. Following the match, Perak FC dropped to 10th place in the standings, while Melaka United went up to 8th. Well, Manchester City secured a record-equaling 4th successive League Cup triumph as Aymeric Laporte's late header sealed a deserved 1-0 victory over Tottenham Hotspur yesterday. Well, they have now matched Liverpool's feat of winning the competition for 4 seasons in a row and also joined Liverpool with the most League Cup wins on 8. How the final reached halftime still at 0-0 was mystifying, with Phil Foden denied by the woodwork and Raheem Sterling and Riyad Mahrez both going close, while Joao Cancelo forced a great save from Lloris on the stroke of halftime. To their credit, Spurs responded in the second half and Giovanni Lo Celso almost gave them the lead when his curling effort was turned around the post by keeper Zach Steffen. The zip went out of City's attack slightly, but Frenchman Lloris was still by far the busier of the two keepers, producing saves to deny Mahrez and skipper Fernandinho. Tottenham's rookie manager Ryan Mason sent on Gareth Bale with around 25 minutes remaining, and the stage looked set for the Welshman to produce something magical for his side. But it was Laporte who settled it in City's favour, though, as he found space to head De Bruyne's perfect delivery into the net. While the League Cup is lower down Guardiola's priorities, there was no disguising his joy as he became the first manager to win the League Cup in 4 successive seasons, claiming his 30th piece of silverware as manager in the process.
I'm so delighted, for the guys, and I have a thought for the guys who didn't play. The first thought as always is for them because they deserve to play, and unfortunately they could not play. For Fernandinho and Sergio, that they are the players with more caps in this competition, and 4th time in a row. It was a nice competition because Arsenal, United away, and Spurs to win it, so it's more than well deserved, and especially the way they performed.
It had added significance as the final was played in front of the biggest crowd since Britain went into a first COVID-19 lockdown last March. Well, one of the government's test events to get fans safely back into venues as restrictions ease, as cities permitted 2,000 supporters serenaded their team at the end with the club's Blue Moon anthem. Well, RB Leipzig dashed Bayern Munich's hopes of wrapping up the Bundesliga title last night with 3 games to spare when goals from Amadou Haidara and Emil Forsberg eased them to a 2-0 win over a 10-man VfB Stuttgart. Well, second place Leipzig snatched a 2-match winless run in the league to keep alive the title race as they cut the gap with leaders Bayern, beaten 2-1 on Saturday by Mainz 05 to 7 points. Mönchengladbach on 71. And in tennis, Rafael Nadal saved a match point before defeating Stefanos Tsitsipas 6-4, 6-7, 7-5 to claim a record-extending 12th Barcelona Open title on Sunday, ending his Greek opponent's 9-game unbeaten start to the European clay court swing. Now, having collected his first title of 2021 season, Nadal, 34, will leapfrog Russian Daniil Medvedev to take back the world number 2 spot in the updated ATP rankings today. Slam winner will be back in action at next month's ATP Masters 1000 Roland Garros title. And that concludes this evening's news at 10. In our top story, return to online lessons after Raya holidays for all schools. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Amin Carlos, and stay tuned to Saluran Berita RTM and have a pleasant evening.